Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. Salam integrasi Nakli and Nakli from Universiti Sains Islam Malaysia. Welcome to Think Big webinar series, a program organized by Center for Marketing and Student Admission in collaboration with Jemaah Profesor Universiti Sains Islam Malaysia, JPU. Right, this program is actually designed to introduce our renowned and expert professor in USIM, Universiti Sains Islam Malaysia, with regard to attract more potential or future postgraduate students to come and further study in USIM. Today, we are very grateful as we managed to have a Professor Datin Dr. Sapora Sipon, a professor in counseling program, Faculty of Leadership and Management. So before we start, I would like to read a short biography of our speaker today. The Honorable Professor Datin Dr. Sapora Sipon is a professor in counseling program, Faculty of Leadership and Management, Universiti Sains Islam Malaysia. She received a PhD in 2007 from Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. She's expert in group counseling, spiritual counseling, health and well-being, and counseling psychology. Currently, she has published more than 59 international journals and published 52 academic books. Before we start, I also would like to announce that this program can also be watched live via YouTube using admissions. And if you have any questions, please leave your message in the chat column. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to invite the Honorable Professor Datin Dr. Sapora Sipon to deliver her talk entitled Exploring the Untapped Richness of Scholarly Work Throughout Muslims' History and Tradition. Please welcome Datin.
Thank you, Dr. Fazia, the MC. I'm very grateful. Can you see my slide, Fazia?
Can.
Okay.
All right.
I have to apologize to the participant because I seem to have a problem in my video. So I do hope that you will focus more on the notes, right? So as Fazia had said, that this is a series of the professor's talk, and I really hope that you will be patiently waiting for more professors to share their views. Okay, as for this morning, Fazia and the others, I'll be talking about the richness of the scholarly work throughout Muslim history and tradition. I'm Professor Datin Dr. Sapora Sipon, and I'm also the Exco Jemaah Profesor USIM. Okay, why this topic? Right, why is it this topic, Fazia and the others? Okay, before that, this talk, as Fazia said, is being organized by the Center for Marketing and Student Admission, and also with the collaboration of Jemaah Profesor USIM, JPU. So before I start or I share my knowledge on this topic, let me more or less promote USIM a bit. Just give me about 5 to 7 minutes. Now, please, ask your friends or your brothers, sisters to study at USIM, because at USIM, the knowledge has no boundaries and there is no limit. So please come and study at USIM. Okay, for postgraduate program is a year-round intake. Okay, and they are masters and PhD in all fields. I'm a professor in psychology counseling, so please, do come and study in the area of psychology counseling. And the good thing is that you can now write your thesis either in English, in Bahasa Melayu, or Arabic. So you have many choices. That is, you can write either in English, in Bahasa, or in Arabic. Whichever you are conversant at or in. Okay, and as I told you, that penulisan thesis is in Bahasa Melayu. Okay, so there are so many program sarjana and also program doctoral philosophy. Now, as I told you that I'm from the Faculty of Leadership and Management program, so there are many programs here. You have Dakwah, you have counseling. I'm from the counseling field. Communication, Akidah, and religious studies, and new media communication, management with tourism. Okay, so since this is organized by the marketing agency at USIM. So please, come and study at USIM. All right. Now, as for my presentation flow, first, I will talk about the richness of the Muslim scholarly work throughout Muslim history and tradition. As you know that in the past, our great Muslim scholars, they have done very much work, writing about psychology, about history, about philosophy. So that is my the first part of my talk. And then the question is, do we tap enough? Do we tap enough of the richness of the Muslim scholarly work? If not, why? If not, why? And I would like to bring you to the scenario now is, where are we now? Where are we now? Okay, before I really go in detail about the topic, I would like to give acknowledgement to some parties, especially USIM, and then to Central for Marketing and Studio Admission, where Dr. Fauza is one of those very committed with, and then Jemaah Profesor USIM, and also to the Raja Zari Sofia Center for Advanced Studies on Islam, Science and Civilization. Why RZS Kasis? Because I did my academic attachment there for about 6 months, under the supervision of Professor Dr. Muhammad Zaini Osman. And also, I would like to thank Professor Dr. Wan Muhammad Noor Wan Daud, and also Associate Professor Dr. Amran Muhammad, who attend his class every Wednesday night, and Dr. Amran Muhammad is from Institute Peradaban Islam Antarabangsa, University College in Sampahang. And I also would like to thank Dr. Muhammad Salih Rahmat, he's from Universiti Malaya, and also he is also the president of Persatuan Penulis Malaysia. Okay, because why do I acknowledge all these parties and people? As because from them I learn a lot, especially from the psychological part, and also especially from the philosophical part. Okay, now as I told you that my first part of my talk is the richness of Muslim scholarly work throughout Muslim history and tradition. Now, if you want to know about the richness of Muslim scholarly work, we must know the history of it. Let me bring you back to the history of the Muslim scholarly work. Okay. See that this is the timeline of the philosophy, and if you could see that it ranges from the century before the pre-Greek century until now, the postmodernism century. Now, I would like to bring you back to the Islamic Golden Era, in the 5th to the 5th and 14th century. Now, at that time, in the Western or the Europe is dark ages. In the West is the dark ages. But in the Islamic era, it is Islamic Golden Era. Now, you could see that the Islamic Golden Era is years before you could see all those eras in the rationalism era, positivism era, existentialism era, and to the modern era. Meaning that before Renaissance, before Enlightenment, and before modern, before postmodern, we have the Islamic Golden Era. Now you could see how important the Islamic Golden Era is to the influence, to the Renaissance, to the Enlightenment, and also to the modern and postmodern era. And how can it affect the whatever we do now? Okay, now Dr. Fauza and also the listeners, if you look here, during the Islamic Golden Age, you have the great scholars such as Al-Kindi, such as Al-Baqi, such as Al-Farabi, such as Ibn Sina. They have done wonders in their work. For example, Al-Kindi, he had done a very good work in the experimental psychology. And when you talk about Al-Baqi had done cognitive and medical aspect. Al-Farabi is really a scholar in the social psychology modernity, and Ibn Sina. Now, all their work, has contributed a lot in the present now psychology. Yeah, for example, their work has influenced the Gestalt psychology. Their work has influenced the cognitive psychology and also the humanistic psychology. Now, if you see this diagram, you will see how important the Islamic Golden Age and their contribution to the present psychology. Okay. Now, these are some of the very great Muslim scholars that we have. Okay, here I want to show you how Al-Ghazali has impacted the work of this very, very famous modern scientist, what you call. Okay, I would like to credit this diagram to Associate Professor Dr. Amran Muhammad. I told you that I follow his class every Wednesday night. So this is one of the diagram that I got. So, when you talk about nominalism, causality, empirism, now we are really into empirism, occasionalism. They are all actually, they come from Muslim scholars, and one of them is the Al-Ghazali. Okay, and if you could see here, the diagram shows that the kalam, because in Islam we have kalam, and how the kalam al-Ash'ara contribute to the Western science. So it is very interesting if you could see that long time ago, the work of al-Baghdadi, the work of Sharastani, the work of Badawi, Bagdawi, the work of Taftazani, the work of Ibn Khaldun really give great impact to the work of Locke. Locke is the Western scholars to the work of Newton, to the work of Hume, and to the work of Edward. These are all, when you talk about Locke, when you talk about Newton, when you talk about Leibniz, they are all the Western scholars, and actually what we have now, especially for example, what we have in our modern psychology, they say that we take all the philosophical element from Locke or from Newton or from Norris, from Hume, but actually Locke, Newton, Norris, Hume, they took it from Baghdadi, they took it from Ibn Rushd, they took it from Al-Razi, they took it from Tafzani. So just consider what we are having now, the knowledge that we are having now from whom? From whom? Is it from the Western or is it from the Muslim great scholars? Okay, and then I would like to ask the listeners a very one important question. Let me ask you, Dr. Fauzia, who is the greatest beneficiary of Islamic science?
Wow, very hard to answer, Datin.
Tak apa. It's okay, Fauzia. Okay. Arguably, Fauzia, the greatest beneficiary of the Islamic science and the Greek scientific tradition was the Western Europe. Western Europe. From the chart, from the diagram that I showed, you all, is that originally is from Greek. Then it transferred to the Islam Golden Age. The process of translation took place there. And then after the fall of the Islamic Golden Age, then it goes to the Western Europe. So now the Western Europe are the one who really benefit from the Islamic science tradition. Now, beginning in the 12th century, the Western translators and scientists began to translate Greek and Arabic scientific works into Latin. Okay, that was a long time ago, but even though that was a long time ago, the effect are still now, you could see the effect nowadays. Okay, so Dr. Fauzia and the others, so what happened is that all the following figures, what Al-Ghazali did, what Al-Razi did, there was no conflict, between the Islamic faith and the science they practice. So this is what we at USIM are trying to do, or not trying to do, what are doing, that we would like to integrate, the Islamic faith and the science. And there was no conflict at that time. And till now, there was no conflict, but but the issue is that are we doing it? Yeah, are we doing it or practicing it? Okay, as I told you that the Muslim scholars, they have great impact or influence on modern psychology. Yeah, I listed here the Islamic scholars such as Al-Kindi, Al-Baqi, Al-Farabi, Ibn Sina, Al-Ghazali. They had done their experimental psychology, they had done their cognition, they had done their social psychology. If Al-Farabi, they have done their modern city, and also Ibn Sina, Ibn Sina came out with the concept of neighborhood. Okay, and how did what they have done, or how did their work contribute to the modern psychology now? Now we have the cognitive psychology, we have the behavioral psychology, we have the humanistic psychology. Okay, and now we have the structuralists, we have the functionalists. Yeah, actually all those, yeah, originally, Dr. Fauzia and their listeners, and they came from the Islamic scholars. Yeah? They took it from Al-Kindi, they took it from Al-Baqi, they took it from Al-Farabi, Ibn Sina, but of course, yeah, they done their adjustment a bit here and there so that it would look like it's their original work. Yeah, it's their original work. So the Western, they are very good at adjusting something to make as if it is their own, yeah, originality. Yeah? Okay, so this is what we have known about the history. Yeah? We have now, these are some, I don't think you can read it, but let me read to you. For example, Al-Tabari had done on psychotherapy, and then at now the Western authors, Johann Weber, all those. All right, so these are all how the Islamic scholars have impacted, yeah, the modern psychology now. For example, Al-Tabari has great influence on Jean Piaget, and Al-Baqi has very great influence on Albert Ellis, Aaron Beck, yeah? Al-Farabi, Norman Triplett really took the elements, important principles and elements of Al-Farabi work and so forth. Yeah, okay. So that was the past great Muslim scholars, and I would like also to bring the audience, the listeners on who they are. Yeah, who they are. Okay, Dr. Faiza, if you would like to know who some of the great Muslim scholars in psychology, let me bring you to them. All right, we have Al-Kindi. Al-Kindi is someone who really did on experimental psychology. Yeah? Because now we have a lot of experimental psychology in our psychology studies. Okay, so he wrote many books, yeah, for example, on sleep and dreams, yeah, and first philosophy and eradication of sorrow. Now when you talk about psychology, you also talk about sorrow. Okay, and then you have also Al-Baqi. Al-Baqi focus on cognitive, and as you know that in psychology, we have the cognitive therapy, and then we have also cognitive behavior therapy. Okay, all right, and then Al-Baqi wrote a very good book on the sustenance for body and soul. As you know that they have written a lot of psychological basis, but maybe they don't call it psychology at that time, but they have done that, they have done that. All right, and Al-Baqi also did something or wrote something on fear and anxiety, of anger and aggression, of sadness and depression. Now you see, Dr. Fauzia, they have done on psychology, Dr. Fauzia, and because I am a professor in psychology, so I focus on psychology. But there are many great scholars who did their work on science, on biology, or even on medical. But since I am concentrating on the psychology, so I give you examples on the great scholars who did their work on psychology. Maybe at that time it was not called a psychology. Maybe it was a nouns, or they call it a soul. Yeah, all right. And then, okay, so Al-Baqi did on psychosomatic disorder, disturbance in social, psychological, and behavior. And now, at the present modern psychology, now we study this thing also, Okay, and then we also have Al-Farabi. Al-Farabi did on the social psychology and model city. And this was considered as the first to deal with the social psychology. As you know that we have one subject on social psychology. Yeah? If you are a psychology student, you have to study on social psychology. This is what the great scholars have done. Yeah? The great Muslim scholars have done. Okay. Now, Al-Farabi also wrote on concept of neighborhood. All right. And then we have also Ibn Sina. All right. Ibn Sina wrote or did a very, very, very good job on hallucination, insomnia, mania. Okay. And he also did works on emotion. As you know that in psychology nowadays, we talk about emotion, we talk about feelings, we talk about all those things that had been studied by our great Muslim scholars, all right? Okay, we have a very, very important person, yeah, and when you talk about Imagazi Al-Ghazali, I think all Muslims know who he is, yeah, who he was. All right, now, in Islamic psychology, he was a philosopher, theologian, jurist, and mystic, okay? Now, the issue is, okay, we also have Al-Tanwi, who was also a psychotherapist, yeah? And he wrote something on the personality theory. He wrote something on causes and classification of disease. And also he was very, very, very much on treatment or therapies. Now, dear audiences, dear listeners, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, now you know how rich our great Muslim scholars, they have done so much in psychology, and their works have contributed so much in the modern day psychology. The issue is, Dr. Fauzia and the others, are we really using, are we really have what they have studied? So this is the topic that I would like everyone here to ponder with, to think of. Yeah, that is the untapped richness of Muslim scholarly work, throughout Muslim history and tradition. Why do I say untapped, Dr. Fauzia? Yeah, there must be a reason. Okay, now I've gone through just a few cases, written works on Al-Ghazali. I just want to know whether what the richness of the Muslim scholars, the great Muslims, had been really utilized or really been manifested. So during a very short search, only on Al-Ghazali, and I found that not many Islamic universities did a research on that or even wrote a thesis on that. Okay, now let me show to you, which university did study on written works on Al-Ghazali. Actually, in Malaysia, we have one or two PhD students who did on Al-Ghazali. I'm talking more on the psychological part. Okay. Now, the first one that I found is from Azhar University. Okay. Then the University of Michigan, then University of Edinburgh, and then University of New York, then Boston College, then London, then Hartford Seminary. What is Hartford Seminary? I'm so interested to know more about Hartford Seminary. Later I show you what Hartford Seminary is. And then we have the University of Utah. Now, I just would like to ask the audience here, of all the universities that I mentioned here, how many are the Islamic university? Dr. Fauzia. We have only Azhar, isn't it? Azhar University. The rest are not from the Islamic universities. So what indication does it show? Okay. Now, as I told you that I'm very much interested to know what is Hartford Seminary. So this is what I found. Hartford Seminary is now Hartford International University for Religion. And it's a pioneering interreligious international theological university. Hartford International has helped thousands of people find peace within, and many thousands more find peace with each other. Now I could say that Hartford International University for Religion and Peace is trying to do sort of interfaith dialogue and study about the faith and the religion. All right. But is it an Islamic university? No.
No.
Not an Islamic university.
Datin, but I like the tagline, University for Religion and Peace.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Then I also searched for other universities that have done a work on Al-Ghazali. I'm focusing the Al-Ghazali alone, yeah. But there are more, as you said, great Muslim scholars, for example, Farabi Al-Kindi. Okay, but for the purpose of presenting, I just look for one, that is Al-Ghazali. And again, I could see University of California, yeah, Harvard University doing a study on Al-Ghazali, all right? Where are the Islamic universities? Yeah. Okay. Again, my really interest goes to in searching, and I found that University of Chicago, again, Hartford Seminary. So as I told you, that Hartford Seminary really focuses on the study of a religion. Yes. Okay. Then Southern Illinois University of Carbondale, the Ohio State University, right? And then Northwestern University, again, Harvard University. Then if you look here, D. Ward Hendrick, The Spiritual Experience of Al-Ghazali, a Christian Response, Fuller Theological Seminary School of World Mission. Now, it seems that the Christians or the Western University, they are very, very much interested to study about the Muslim scholars, yeah, compared to the Islamic University. Why is that so? Maybe every one of you have the answer, all right? Okay, then again, I told you that Hartford Seminary, again, had really interest in studying about the Muslim great scholars. Yeah, here, the title of the study is The Book of Knowledge, being a translation with introduction and notes of Al-Ghazali. Now, why is it, Dr. Fawza and the readers, that the Western University, the Western Theology Institution, everyone are very, very, very much interested to study about Islam compared to our to the Islamic University itself? Why is that? Okay, there must be a reason, I guess. Yeah, I don't know whether the reasons come from them or the reasons come from the Muslims themselves. Now, look at the last one. The last university is University of Toronto. All right. Now, these are some of the articles that have been written about the Islamic perspective. Yeah. Psychology from Islamic perspective, contribution of early Muslim scholars and challenges to contemporary Muslim psychology. This is a journal article, yeah, and the writer is Amber Head. And as you know, that Amber Head is someone who is really committed and dedicated to write something on the Islamic perspective. Okay. You know, Dr. Fawza, Amber Head used to be my lecturer when I did my master's at Universiti Sains Malaysia. If I had known that he is a very, very prolific writer, I would really, really connect to him. Yeah, when I did my master's. Okay, again, this is Amber Head. All right. Again, Amber Head wrote an article. Yeah. Outlining a psychotherapy model for enhancing Muslim mental health within an Islamic context. Yeah? Now, my question, Dr. Fawza and the readers, I have brought you all to look at the scenario where the Muslim scholars have contributed so much, to the knowledge of Islam, and also a lot of the very famous Western psychologists, they took most of the elements of the principles of their psychology from the great Muslim scholars. But what happened is that not many Muslims or not many Islamic institutions take it from there. take it from the richness of the Muslim traditions or the Islamic traditions to create a knowledge at present time, okay? Now, let me bring you to Universiti Sains Islam Malaysia. Universiti Sains Islam Malaysia, which is my university, right? Now, when you talk about Universiti Sains Islam Malaysia, you'll be talking about the integration of Nakli and Akli, yeah? This is our forte lah, yeah? Universiti Sains Islam Malaysia, the forte is integration of Nakli and Akli knowledge. Okay, let me read to you, yeah? The premise, yeah, of USIM. The education paradigm at USIM is based on the basic principle that integrating religious sciences with social and physical sciences will not only provide a more comprehensive understanding of current global challenges, but also offer a fresh alternative in approaching and solving them. So here at USIM, we'll try to integrate, yeah, the religious science, and also we try to integrate the religious science with, yeah, the physical and social science. So what we call is the Nakli and Akli. It is something that I really find very motivating, yeah, and very interesting. Okay, now, why does USIM would like to have integration of Nakli and Akli? This is because of the universal nature of Islamic values and history. I've talked to you about the history of the Muslim great scholars that have proven that these values can be shared by all humankind living together harmoniously with mutual respect and tolerance. Okay, and why does USIM want to integrate the Nakli and Akli? Okay, because looking back, yeah, at the Islam Golden Era, yeah, the Muslim Golden Era, because we know that, you know, we have to have this effort, yeah, towards reviving the scientific and technology field of Muslim scholars in the past, and we need to bring it or move it forward. We need to bring the greatness, yeah, of the Muslim scholar work, move it here, move it and bring it here, yeah, bring it here. Okay. Now, in the hope that, yeah, USIM graduates are molded within this ethos so that they are not only able to function as professional in their respective disciplines effectively, but, yeah, Dr. Fawzia and the participants, but USIM would like also at the same time are ready to contribute and make a difference to the society in the Islamic tradition. Yeah. So this is the premise, this is the forte of USIM, that we would like, yeah, to revive the scientific technology in the past, and we would like to bring it here, and we would like to apply it so that we are able to contribute and make a difference to the society in the Islamic tradition. In the Islamic tradition. Okay, that is a very, I could say, something that we would really hope will happen. Good. So, Dr. Fawzia and others, I am reminding myself, yeah, I am reminding myself, not others. Okay. When I go through the thesis, yeah, USIM, yeah, the students have graduated, and some of them are my students. So that's why I said that I am reminding myself. You know. Now I have brought, yeah, Dr. Fawzia and others, some of the topics, yeah, done by other universities, and they focus on Imagazi Al-Ghazali. Yeah, but when I look at USIM's thesis, the title of the thesis, they are just not many. In fact, could not find one who did on Imagazi Al-Ghazali, where you talk about psychology, yeah? Where you talk about finance, talk about, maybe there are elements that you could use on Imagazi Al-Ghazali, where you talk about psychology, you talk about finance, and then maybe you talk about human resource. Okay, I'm reminding myself that when I look at the topic, yeah, USIM's, yeah, thesis title, you know, let me read just a few. Yeah, the first one is Employee Assistance Service Handbook based on teachers' expectation and perception towards help seeking through counseling. And then the second one, development and testing of conflict management training module for counselors, the mediating effect of human resource management in the relationship between organization learning culture with organization citizenship behavior and work engagement, and so forth, you know. And then the mediator's role of organization behavior and human resource management, then the relationship of human resource management, and then these are also some of the topics that I could find. For example, the last one is 2018 PhD, mediating effect of organization commitment. This one we have the Islamic element. My question, Dr. Fauzia, and to the others, yeah, because I only have about another 20 minutes here, because I would like to have Q&A also.
Yes.
My question is that, so where are we heading? Because our target is that we would like to have this basic principle that integrating religious science with social and physical science, and we would like to integrate, to put in the element of the Islamic values, yeah, because we know that from history that all these values are not in conflict, yeah, in the religious perspective and also in the real world perspective, they are not in conflict, yeah, as what Imam Al-Ghazali has done, yeah, as what Al-Farabi has done, as what Al-Kindi has done, yeah. So with the hope of that, you know, USIM came out, yeah, with this forte, and are still hoping, yeah, that every one of us are contributing to that. But when I look at some of the topic of the thesis, okay, and which includes my student, PhD students, all right, so it's quite a sad thing, yeah, that it's quite a sad thing that we do not really focus on what USIM's forte is, yeah, that we do not really integrate the Nakli and Akli, you know. I'm reminding myself, you know, all right. So my question is that, so where are we heading? And also, why? Why does it happen in such a way that most of the diseases are not in relating to the Nakli and Akli? Maybe some of you have the answers. I do not have the answers. Maybe some of you have the answers. Maybe Dr. Fosa have the answers.
Discuss later, Datin. Yeah.
Leonardo da Vinci, yeah, a great painter. Yeah, I have been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. We know that. I know, yeah, because I'm reminding myself. Yeah, I know that USIM is integrating Nakli and Akli. Yeah, but I know that. Yeah, but do I apply that? Yeah? We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do. So that is why my topic is exploring the richness, but the untapped richness, yeah? Exploring the untapped richness. Why is that the Western University, they could write a thesis, they could write thesis on Imam Al-Ghazali, the Harvard University, the seminary institution, they could write articles, materials, theses regarding the Muslim great scholars. Why? But all right, this is Bruce Lee. Okay, Bruce Lee also said the same thing like Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah? Knowing is not enough, because we know that, yeah, that USIM, yeah, is really trying very hard, yeah, to integrate the Nakli Akli, yeah, to put the religious values into the scientific values, yeah. We know that. But willing is not enough. Yeah, we must do. We must do, all right? And then Winston Churchill says that it is not enough that we do our best. I know that every one of us has done our best. So we work very, very, very hard, yeah? Especially the academicians, they really work very hard. As Winston Churchill says, it's not enough that we do our best. Sometimes we have to do what is required. Okay? I read it again because I like this quotation by Churchill. It is not enough that we do our best. Sometimes we have to do what is required. Now, I also like this quotation by Mae West. Is actress. It's an actress. She was an actress. You only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough. You only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough. I'm reminding myself that, am I tapping enough the richness of the Muslim great scholars, especially in the field of psychology? I'm asking myself, and my answer is no. I'm not tapping enough, the richness of the Muslim work in my field, that is in psychology. So when looking at what Mae West says, that you only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough. Maybe what I could say about myself is that I only live once, but I do not do it right. And that is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I would like to end my sharing with this quotation. Indeed, mankind is in loss. Indeed, mankind is in loss. So what does it indicate? I leave my question to you. What does it mean that when I say indeed, mankind is in loss? All right, Dr. G, I would like to stop here. If you have any Q&A, please.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, Prof. Datin, for the enlightening talk. Okay. From your presentation, I personally can learn and know so that Islam can relate with the psychology. We have many Muslim scholars such as Al-Kindi, Abu Zaid, Al-Farabi, Al-Ghazali. So that I think from your presentation, students of our future postgrad students will be able have a motivation, kan, Datin, to write on or to explore on religious science with psychology, and also to integrate what USIM vision and mission, right? Okay, so and then the most part I like is knowing is not enough, we must apply. So I think we have to be, USIM has to be a pioneer of producing more research works, particularly to relate on Islam and psychology, right? Okay, do you have any questions? We have participants from Zoom, and also we have participants from YouTube. Our YouTube is of admission. So if you have any questions, you may ask here. Maybe questions also can be in bahasa, kan, Datin?
Yeah, it can be in bahasa, yeah.
Right, okay. Come on, everyone, okay, just ask questions. Okay, if you want to get ideas from Datin, Sapora also can. Okay.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam,
yes.
Ya.
Dr. Farid.
Ya, terima kasih banyak Datin, Prof, atas perkongsian. Sorry lah, ada dua suara. Cuma bila melihat kepada pembentangan Datin menunjukkan tentang richness of our past scholars devote themselves towards the psycho-spiritual development dimension and so on. it passed all the interdiscipline field of those scholars, right? Either Al-Farabi, Al-Ghazali, so all that kind of research or the books that they produce focusing on that kind of things, which is to develop human to have a better soul, either this world and afterworld. Tetapi pada hari ini, why? I just question why the Muslim right now is suffering, especially in terms of the vision of our soul, something like that. Macam seolah ada sedikit lompong yang kita tak betul-betul go in depth towards the discussion, ataupun kita tak betul-betul menghargai perkara tersebut dan dipraktiskan dalam kehidupan seharian. Do you have comment, Prof, on that things?
Okay, thank you, Farid. Can you hear my voice, Farid?
Yeah, yes, clearly.
All right, thank you. I really appreciate your question, yeah, and I really would hope one day, Farid, you are one of those who will be able to take the challenge. Okay, Dr. Farid? Amin. Amin. Actually, Dr. Farid, when you talk about this aspect, you know, there are so many factors that contribute to it, yeah. We also live in an era where we are being colonized, yeah, and also the element of hegemony also play very important part, yeah, in the Muslims' life, yeah. So we could say, or I could reply to your question from many perspectives. Yeah, one is from the external perspective, and the second one is from the internal perspective, yeah, Dr. Farid. From the internal perspective, as you say, is our own faith, belief system, yeah, where we have to be very strong, yeah, in our own faith, yeah, in our belief, yeah. We will have to always uplift of our faith, yeah, Dr. Farid. Okay, for example, if we are Muslim, we must be a very much better Muslim, yeah, as days pass on. Okay, now when you talk about external, Dr. Farid, because now these factors, internal and external, they keep on integrating, you know. They are not two separate things, yeah. The external and the internal factors, they really mingle with each other, and that contributes here to who we are. All right, so when you talk about the internal, is our own faith, belief system, or our own keimanan. But then when you talk about external factors, there are so many external factors, you know. For example, as I've said, that we are being colonized, and the effect of that colonization is still very much in us, you know, Dr. Farid. You know, we are still very ambivalent, so we do not know where we are. We are trapped, yeah, in our own self. Yeah, we want to follow the Western, and yet the other spectrum, we want to follow the Islamic. Yeah, so we are in between. And if you are not strong enough, you will always be trapped in between. Yeah, in between the Western and in between the Eastern. Yeah, okay. Then the other factors, you know, for example, I'm so sorry to say this, the work element, yeah, that you need to produce something, you need to produce articles that is mainly tailored, yeah, to the Western style, yeah. So these are the factors that really contribute to finally it interferes with our faith also. So the answer to that, Farid, is that we Muslim, we really need to know what we really want, yeah, what we really want and how to get there, how to go there, how to get there. And we really need to be brave. Yeah, we have to be our own Muslims' strength. Yeah, we cannot really follow what the Western has asked us to do. Okay, Dr. Farid, there is internal and external factors, and we must start from the internal factor first, Dr. Farid. We must start from to be strong, yeah, in our faith, yeah. And to do that, I know it's not that easy, but Dr. Farid, it's not possible. But it will take a lot of survival or a lot of fight. Okay, Dr. Farid, and I really hope that you will be one of those who is the someone who will fight to find the good integration of Nakli and Akli. Because Dr. Farid, this is what Dr. Fawzia, this is one of the main reason why I come to talk on this topic, because I would like the young lecturers. I would like the young lecturers like Dr. Farid, Dr. Ni, who are at our faculty, even you, Dr. Fawzia, even you. I would like the young lecturers, who will find the importance of the great Muslim scholars and then apply it. You just cannot know about it. You must apply it, and you must write, about how the integration of Nakli and Akli, and how important it is and how it contributes, to the betterment of the Ummah, to the betterment of Muslim. And I don't think you don't have the potential to do that. I think everyone at USIM has the potential to write on that, to do that, to do on integration of Nakli and Akli. The question is that whether you want to do it or not. Whether you want to do it or not. But in terms of capability and in terms of potentiality, I think everybody has that. Okay, Dr. Fawzia, any other question? Thank you, Dr. Farid.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you, Prof. Datin. If any other questions from participants? Okay, Datin, I would like to ask. Okay.
Yes.
Based on your presentation just now, you showed about many of books and then articles, okay, written or published by a Western university or even not a Muslim person, but they write on Muslim. Is that okay or not okay, actually?
Well, I think the issues of okay, not okay, in terms of the knowledge, yes, I think it's good, because the more knowledge that you write on something, the better it is, Dr. Fawzia. But maybe we also need to look at their intention,
Right.
Whether what they wrote is in line in the Islamic perspective, or not. So the question whether it's okay or not okay, I think in terms of knowledge, we should have respect on them, because Dr. Fawzia, at least they done that, at least they wrote about that, at least they are looking into more materials, on the Muslim great scholars, they have the good intention to do that, and then the issue whether it's really okay or not, we really need to look at the materials written, whether it's in line with the Islamic perspective or not. But to me, it's one okay in terms of they are looking into materials, relating the great Muslim scholars to the present issues now.
All right. I think this is a challenge to us, kind of thing, to produce or to publish more books.
Dr. Fawzia, that is why I choose this topic, Dr. Fawzia. You know what, I can talk more about, the psychology, but I really would like, Dr. Fawzia, especially the academician, not say the young, the not so young, or even the seniors, lecturers, they write something on this element or on this forte of integrating Nakli and Akli. Why can't we, Dr. Fawzia? Why can't we? I'm reminding myself also.
Yes. We have to start now with our future postgraduate students, okay?
Yes, they are listening, at least Fawzia, if they say that, I know why a lot of these postgraduate students, they don't want to write something on the elements of the Islamics perspective that have been studied, by our Muslim scholars, because they have to do a lot of work, Dr. Fawzia. They have to read the books, and the books most are in Arabic, Dr. Fawzia. And the process of doing that is not a layer, one layer. It is more than 2 or 3 layers, because the first thing is that you really need to understand the Arabic book,
Right.
The the book which is written in Arabic. So in terms of language, you must be proficient in the Arabic language. Yeah? And some of the very good materials, even written by our present scholars, Islam scholars, some are in Jawi or whatever. And then we need to know Jawi. Okay, what I'm saying is that it's not an easy process, and that is why not many, Dr. Wazia, postgraduate student would like to integrate the Nakli and Akli. And it's a science thing, because as Mia was saying, you only live once. If you don't do that, then it's a loss,
Yeah.
So I am encouraging the postgraduate students to at least find an element or even a small element of the Islamic perspective, and put it in your thesis, Even if you cannot find a lot, just at least find a bit of the Islamic element and write it in your thesis. Or else we will not get anywhere, Dr. Fozia. We are now in our 21st years. Is it not 21 tahun ke? How old are USIM, Dr. Fozia? Yeah, Doctor. Okay. Right.
Okay. Any questions last? If you have any, come on, guys. Okay, we have 5 minutes extra lah. Okay, if you have any questions, please ask questions. Okay. Jangan malu-malu. Okay. Dr. Hakim, he's here. Dr. Hakim, you have any question, Doctor? Okay. No more questions?
Maybe Dr. Fozia, maybe I have something to Dr. Hakim lah, yeah. Now, Dr. Hakim, and also the others who are listening, it is my great sincere that we start to write, something on the Islamic values, and we could relate it to the present situation, because as I told you, that everybody has the potential and has the fitrah, because Allah has given us the fitrah to do good, and with that fitrah, and that with the good potential that we must use it. I'm reminding myself also, I thought of wow, what have I done all these years, if at least I have written 1 or 2 books, if I have written 1 or 2 books on how integrating this Islamic and to the current situation, the Nakli and Akli, at least when I retire later, I'll be happy, Dr. Fozia.
Yeah.
So I'm reminding everyone here and also myself. And after this, Dr. Fozia, please write something on the integration of Nakli and Akli.
Inshallah.
Because Muslim scholars, they have done so much, and we really need to carry all those great effort, to the current situation now. Because we need to take what is ours back, The Muslim need to take what is theirs, back, because by right, whatever great knowledge that we have are from the Muslims. So we now, the Muslim must take it back. All right. Thank you, Dr. Fozia.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Prof. Datin. Okay. We have done with presentation and also the Q&A session. I hope that today's talk from Professor Datin, Dr. Sapora will give motivation, encourage all of you to start research, to start do your proposal with integration between Islam and also psychology in the field. Okay. Don't forget to join us next week. We're also having we will invite the next speaker for the next program on Friday. Thank you so much for joining us for today, and also thank you so much, Prof. Datin, for your time, your discussion, okay, about this topic. Okay, and my last word is to everyone, please share this video to all your colleagues, okay, your friends out there, and start your research with our expert here in USIM. Okay, thank you so much, Datin and everyone.
Thank you, thank you. I'm so sorry I cannot on my video because the background is
Okay, now,
there's
okay, now
something
you can
wrong
see that.
technically with my video.
Alright,
Alright.
alright. But you can just Google Datin Dr. Sapora. Okay, banyak boleh nampak je dekat ni apa orang kata dekat Google search. Right? Okay, so if anything about admission, please log on to our website admission.usim.edu.my and follow our IG USIM Admissions for more info. Right? Okay, thank you so much everyone.
Right, thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.